All right, let's just dive right into it. Welcome to today's explainer. We are looking at an absolutely massive shift in the artificial intelligence landscape. We aren't just talking about simple chatbots anymore. We're looking at a rapid, really unprecedented evolution where AI agents are essentially gaining new senses and limbs. Today, we're going to unpack a curated stack of new source documentation and repositories that are actively transforming these agents from basic text generators into autonomous operators. Operators that can actually investigate, code, browse, and create. If you've been sitting there wondering how the shift from AI assistants to AI co-founders is actually going to happen, well, the open source community is building the exact infrastructure for it right now.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The AI Video Studio. 2. Investigative Eyes. 3. Agents get internet access. 4. Photographic memory for code. 5. Reinventing open source editing. And finally, 6. The rise of one-person companies. Let's jump in.
First up, Section 1, the AI Video Studio. Let's take a look inside OpenMontage. We're starting off with a massive breakthrough. OpenMontage is the world's first open-source intelligent video production system designed specifically for AI agents. Just look at this automated workflow. You absolutely do not need to manually string together 5 different applications anymore. You literally just start with a simple natural language prompt, something like, create a 60-second educational animation about neural networks. And from there, OpenMontage takes that prompt and lets your AI agent independently handle the topic research, write the script, generate the visual assets and the voiceover, and then compile the music, subtitles, and editing into a final export. It's treating video generation as a complete end-to-end engineering pipeline, not just some parlor trick.
And the sheer scale of this framework is wild. The documentation shows it comes loaded with 12 built-in production pipelines. That means it has specific, ready-to-go workflows for animated explainers, documentary cuts, virtual avatars, even movie trailers. It integrates 52 production tools and over 500 active skills. Now, it totally supports free resources so you can generate videos without paying for extra API keys. But the true ceiling of this tool depends entirely on what you plug into it. If you hook up premium APIs from OpenAI, Runway, or 11 Labs, the agent uses those high-end engines to dramatically elevate the final output.
Now, according to the repo, here's the absolute killer feature that creators are going to go crazy for. You can feed OpenMontage a video you already love, and it will actually reverse engineer it. The agent analyzes the target video's subtitles, the pacing, the rhythm, scene transitions, and keyframes, and then it generates a brand new production plan that perfectly matches that viral style. It completely automates the analytical side of creative video editing. It's like having a master editor breaking down the tape for you.
Moving right along to Section 2, Investigative Eyes. Let's talk about open source intelligence scanning. So, shifting from creative production, we're now giving our agents the ability to investigate the real world. This open source tool does one thing incredibly well. You just feed it a single username and bam, it instantly scours over 3,000 websites to find publicly available accounts tied to that name. It's super lightweight, it only needs Python 3.10 or higher, and you don't even need any API keys to run it. Once the scan is done, it generates these really comprehensive reports in HTML, PDF, or XML, but what's really new here is its AI analysis mode, which takes all that raw, messy data and writes up a neat, readable, investigative summary for you. A quick heads up on the platform limits though, while it perfectly handles Western platforms and Chinese sites like Douban, Tiba, and Jihu, it currently misses big players like Douyin, Xiaohongshu, and Bilibili, so you might have to extend the code yourself if you specifically need to scan those networks.
All right, Section 3. This is a big one. Agents get internet access, featuring the AI Rich Capability Layer.
Look, if you've tinkered with AI agents, you know the drill. They are brilliant at writing code or drafting documents, but the literal minute you ask them to browse the modern web, the whole thing just falls apart. Look at the old way on the left. Agents traditionally tried to brute force web browsing. They struggled to parse complex, raw HTML, they burned through your tokens like crazy, and they immediately hit a brick wall when trying to log into platforms like Twitter or Xiaohongshu. AI Rich fixes this by acting as a native capability layer. Instead of rewriting everything from scratch, it acts kind of like a smart tool manager. If the agent needs to read a web page, it uses an optimized reader. If it needs to search GitHub, AI Rich hands it the official GitHub CLI. For YouTube, it automatically routes through YTDLP. It just completely abstracts all that friction right away from the agent.
Okay, pause. We really need to deliver a crucial warning here. When you're configuring this tool, specifically when you're feeding it browser cookies so your agent can actually surf authenticated platforms like Twitter or Xiaohongshu, you run a massive risk of getting banned. Platforms do not like automated scraping. The developers explicitly warn against this. You absolutely must use burner accounts. Never ever link your primary personal accounts to an agent's web browsing configurations. Seriously, just don't do it.
Let's move on to Section 4, Photographic Memory for Code. Enter the Codebase Memory MCP. Let's pivot to how agents handle complex software development. If you've ever had an agent help you maintain a large project, you know the absolute pain of watching it blindly search through files over and over again, wasting massive amounts of your token context window, and honestly, still missing crucial cross-service connections. Well, Codebase Memory MCP is a total paradigm shift. It's an intelligence engine that pre-indexes your entire code repository into a local structured knowledge graph. So, instead of reading raw files, the agent queries this graph via the Model Context Protocol. It instantly understands function call chains, HTTP routing, and infrastructure configs as nodes and edges on a map. It's like giving your agent a literal photographic memory.
To truly grasp the power of this tool, just look at this number, 28 million. That is the number of lines of code in the Linux kernel, which is spread out across roughly 85,000 files. Codebase Memory MCP can index that entire massive repository and build a complete knowledge graph out of it in under 3 minutes. 3 minutes! It is just blazingly fast.
Now, you might be thinking, wait, haven't we discussed a really similar tool before called CodeGraph? And you'd be right, they do a very similar thing. But here's the critical comparison. Codebase Memory MCP is written in C, which gives it that incredible speed advantage over the TypeScript-based CodeGraph. It uses TreeSitter to support an astounding 518 programming languages and provides much deeper code parsing. Plus, it runs entirely as a single local binary. That makes it incredibly privacy-friendly for enterprise companies who just absolutely cannot have their proprietary code sent over the cloud to be indexed.
All right, Section 5, Reinventing Open Source Editing with the OpenCut project. So OpenCut has historically positioned itself as just an open source alternative to CapCut, but right now, the project is being completely rewritten from the ground up, and the new feature set is pointing squarely at AI integration. Look at these new architecture pillars: an editor API, a plugin-first design, an MCP server, and most importantly, headless mode. What I found super fascinating in their repo is this headless mode. Traditionally, video editing requires a human sitting there dragging clips on a timeline. But with an MCP server and headless mode, an AI agent can actually manipulate the editing timeline directly without any user interface at all. While it's obviously incredibly hard to dethrone mature software like Premiere Pro or CapCut, giving agents direct programmatic access to a timeline, that is exactly the kind of disruption this industry has been waiting for.
And finally, Section 6, the rise of one-person companies. Let's look at some key insights from the 2026 industry reports.
Let's tie all of these incredible tools together. We're pulling from two major documents here: the 2026 Global AI OPC Business Model Insight Report and the 2026 China AI Application Panorama. Honestly, if you are looking to find a startup direction or conduct some market research, these reports are an absolute goldmine. They meticulously map out the development logic for one-person companies, or OPCs. They offer deep dives into successful business models, detail classical case studies of AI-native companies and one-person unicorns, and they provide extensive ecosystem maps covering everything from foundational developer tools all the way to final B2B and B2C products.
This quote right here really hits the nail on the head. The one-person company is a super individual powered by AI startups and agent-driven workflows. Everything we've looked at today, the automated video studios, the investigative OSINT scanners, the web browsing capability layers, the local code-based memories, these aren't just isolated gimmicks. No, they are the exact agent-driven workflows that allow a single individual to operate with the output of an entire enterprise team.
We've seen how open-source developers are just frantically outfitting AI agents with the senses, the limbs, and the memory required to execute complex tasks completely autonomously. The barrier to entry for complex software development and media production has literally never been lower. So I want to leave you with this final thought. With a full AI video studio and a perfectly memorized code base at your absolute fingertips, what will your one-person company build? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.